Hey, this is Derek, and I am going to be doing a live vibe coding session here. And for those of my friends who know me, I think a lot of you have probably been like, what is Derek up to? Doesn't he do music? And I know he's involved in technology, and yep. And my career's basically been 15 years in big tech designing products, and I was UX lead on Visual Studio for many years back in the day. And so I've been on many software development teams over the years, but I've never been a great coder because I've always been on the design side doing requirements gathering, understanding customers, and that kind of thing. And now with the advent of vibe coding and AI assisted coding, I've put my feet in the water, and I've wanted to do this live coding session for a while. And shout out to Jesse Pollock who from Coinbase, who said, hey, we're rolling out live streaming on Zora, which is a new platform. And he said, hey, I'd love to see people live streaming on Zora and doing some vibe coding sessions. So here I am. That's what I'm doing. And so what I thought I'd do today is kind of start out by showing uh, what I've been up to this year. So just to kind of back up a little bit, and let me go to a different window here. Um, so for those of you who don't know yet, Coinbase has gone and rolled out a new version of their Coinbase wallet app, and they've renamed it the Base app. And what's cool about it is they've integrated social network features into the wallet. And why this is super special is because it allows you to do super, super cool things. So they've integrated crypto into a social network, and then they've also incorporated the components of a social network called Farcaster. So for those of you who are in the Farcaster community and on Zora right now, you're totally familiar with these platforms, but I'm kind of giving the background for the newbies and normies out there. And anyway, so this is Farcaster. So this is a social network that was started a handful of years ago, about 5 years ago. And what's like I said, what's kind of neat about it is they've kind of componentized it so you can, as a developer, use bits and pieces of it, use the social feed, use what we call the social graph, so you can figure out like who's friends with who, and all that kind of stuff. And so you can actually kind of create your own social networks off of this central social network called Farcaster. And so that's exactly what Coinbase has done. The other thing that Farcaster has done that's available in the Coinbase wallet app is they have launched a thing called MiniApps. So if I go here to MiniApps, this is kind of like an app store for the social network. So you can embed uh, uh, apps right within your social media posts. And so this year, I've been doing a bunch of vibe coding. And of course, my career, as I said, was 15 years in big tech and then 15 years in the music industry. And I've been helping indie artists really for 20 years. And I've been seeing how these worlds now finally have collided in a major way. Pretty much everything we do now is online. And of course, the music industry has been disrupted uh, a handful of times over, and lots of stuff happening in the music tech space right now. And I think what Coinbase is doing and what Farcaster is doing is very interesting for creators overall, and especially Coinbase. And I mentioned Zora. Zora is the first platform that actually started doing what they also call tokenizing uh, accounts. So they call them creator coins, which means as soon as you set up an account on Zora or on the Coinbase Base app, you now have a coin basically that represents a crypto coin that represents your account or you. So people can send you money, give you tips. You can earn money from giving other people publicity or helping people do marketing, etc. And So that's kind of what this mini app ecosystem does. And so I was like, okay, this looks interesting to me for a lot of different reasons. I think this can help creators and musicians. But I was like, in general, musicians don't want to, they've been kind of resistant. A lot of creators have been resistant to kind of get into crypto because there's been so many scams and whatnot. But Coinbase is a publicly traded company, and they've been working behind the scenes to get legislation passed to make this all normal and have good regulations around it for so people aren't harmed, et cetera. So that's all in process. So a lot of really cool stuff happening. And so I decided, hey, you know what? I can make one of my own apps for this ecosystem. And I thought I'd kind of do something that was more within my reach, since I'm kind of new to doing software development from the ground up. And so what I want to do is start getting on here, maybe somewhat on the regular, and showing behind the scenes of how I vibe code mini apps for the for Farcaster and the Base ecosystem. So I rolled out back in August. I rolled out a mini app called Add Play Button. So if I go here, I click my Add Play Button mini app. So here we are. I've launched my app. Comes up in this window. Of course, you can do this on mobile as well, which is super fun. And while I have this the mini app open, I can hit home. I can scroll through all the different cool things that everybody has here in my normal social feed. And I go, okay, well, hey, you know what? I really like to share my Christmas playlist with everybody. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just go to Apple Music, for example, or actually Spotify. Let me see. Let me go to Spotify. Oh, here we go. This is better. Okay, I am going to copy a link to my Christmas Friends playlist. So every year I hit up all my musician friends. I've got lots of them over the last 20 years. And I say, hey, everybody, send me your Christmas tracks. And so I've now been collecting them and putting them onto a playlist. We're up to 96 songs right now. Really amazing artists on this playlist. For shout out to everybody. A lot of ex major label artists on here. It's all indie, so that's kind of my one thing. It's pretty much all indie. But a lot of the artists on here have either been on major labels, or they're producing major label artists, or they've sung background for major label artists, or played instruments on albums and things like that. So I like to brag. I have some pretty cool friends. All right, so I'm going to copy my link to the Spotify playlist. And so right within my mini app, I can paste that URL to the playlist, and I'm going to hit Add Play Button. So when I do that, it's actually going to create a post for me and put a play button at the bottom of the post. And so I'm going to say, hey, everyone, meet all my cool friends who make awesome music and super fresh tunes. Okay, so there we go. And I'll just hit that. And all right, so then I hit cast, which is kind of like post. So I hit post. All right, and then I have the opportunity to view that. Now, so what my mini app does as well is I can hit this play button right here. And when I hit that, hopefully, maybe let me go back to different. Let me go back to my feed and see if I can activate it. Okay, here we go. Oh, well, what the heck is happening here? Uh-oh. Well, my demo's being wrecked right now. Oh, here we do. Here it came up. I think it was just stalled out or something. Yeah, so then the Christmas Friends playlist comes up, and I can hit play and listen to the music while I'm in doing my social media. So that's kind of what my my mini app does. So you can embed YouTube videos in here. You can embed Spotify, or not only Spotify playlists, but Apple Music playlists, SoundCloud. tracks, Mixcloud, Vimeo, videos, etc. So I can launch them all and play them in here. And then while I was playing, you can kind of minimize them, listen away, and go about your business. So I have been wanting to add some features to the Add Play Button app. And one of the things I wanted to do was add the ability to actually take those individual playlists, like say from Spotify, whatever, and then have you add playlists of playlists. Because sometimes you're just sharing a song, sometimes you're sharing a full playlist. But what if I go, hey, I've got my Christmas friends, I'd love to share maybe a playlist from your Christmas friends, and we could cycle all through them back to back. And so that's what I wanted to add. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now. And so if I go over to, I'm using Cursor, which is a very popular what we call IDE, which is an integrated development environment for writing code. And again, I come from design world. So if you're out there and you're a crack software developer, you're probably going to be making fun of me. That's totally okay. Feel free to share your expertise in your chat, how to solve my bugs, and because I'm going to be solving a lot of bugs here today. And we'll see. We'll go here for about maybe an hour or something, or until I'm feeling defeated. Sometimes sessions go really, really well. Sometimes not so well. So we'll see how this goes. And all right, let's see here. Okay, so where do I want to start? Okay, so the other thing too, so if you're new to vibe coding, and this, I'm going to be jumping in a little bit midstream, but I'm going to be offering a course. I'm going to be authoring a course on vibe coding, kind of for normies and for designers, because I think a lot of us have been, again, on software development teams, but we haven't actually written code before. So we know a lot, but we don't want to go from complete zero. And then I think there's certain things that as designers, we may want to know more than others. And anyway, so I'll be working on this course probably over the next month or so, and hopefully be able to offer it in the new year. In the meantime, what I'm going to be doing is just doing some of these live streams to kind of show my behind the scenes of what I'm doing and how I approach this. So here's how I set up Cursor. They have a new layout, which I kind of like. So on the left, I've got my main chat area here. I like to have my code in front and center because I just kind of like to monitor what AI is doing. And so again, those hardcore software developers in the room are going to be shocked because I try and not touch code as much as possible. But what I do, I mean, I can read code. I understand what's going on. I like to, kind of check the work to make sure that it's doing the right things and not adding extraneous goo, which sometimes it does, and it rewrites stuff you don't want rewritten, etc. So I like to keep an eye on that in the main code window. And then over on the right, I usually have my GitHub panel, my source code control panel open. And so I'm looking at, okay, what are we changing right now? And then the bottom right, and you can't see this behind maybe I could turn that off for a second. Let me see if I can change my layout. Okay, I'm going to turn myself off here for a second. So in the bottom right here, I have my kind of change history on GitHub. So I can see I'm working on a separate branch right now. And here's my deployed. Right here is my origin main. So that's my last known good version that's actually deployed. And all right, so let me get back to showing my face. And all right, so that's kind of how I've got things set up. Oh, and then down here in these two panels, I've got two terminal windows open. One, so this is for testing purposes. So basically, what I do is I start up my development server. This off, so essentially I'm running a local web server. So I'm going to start that up right now. So I start my package, what we call our package manager. So pnpm space dev. And you can see that actually starts to launch my app within the browser. But I'll show why this is not useful when you're writing MiniApps for Base and Farcaster. So I'm just going to close that for now, get back to the code. And so you can see now I've got some green numbers and everything here, essentially showing that my dev server is up and running. So this is good. And then over here, this is a requirement that Farcaster has, that when you're doing testing, the only way you can do it is through what we call tunneling, VPN tunneling. So there's a free service. It's called ngrok. And so what we do is we start up the tunneling service on this particular port. And so that will start the tunnel. And then basically there's a URL here that I can right click and grab. So I'm going to say copy. And then what I'm going to do, so now my app is running live. My development version, the active development version of my app, is now running live from my machine here in my studio. And I've got a tunnel URL to it. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to, say, Farcaster here. And okay, I'm going to go to the developers area, and I'm going to go to the MiniApp preview tool. So what this allows us to do, actually, I'm going to close the MiniApp window here for a second. So then you can see all I have is a URL field, and I'm going to go ahead and paste that tunnel in here. It's just again, normal URL. It's randomly generated by the tunneling software. And then I'm going to open URL as MiniApp. So that's going to launch the launch my app here. I'll get a couple of errors just because doing it through the tunnel, etc. And so there we go. We're launching okay. And okay, so my development tools are telling me I have some issues here, so we'll get back to that in just a second. But one thing I wanted to show you, in fact, actually, let me even size this down so you guys could see this a little better. Okay, so here is the new version of Add Play Button with playlists working. But the bug I have right now is that somehow login has broke. And so I have to find out what the heck is going on. And but you can see that for those of you who have used my app before, I've got a couple new options at the bottom. So you can go from a list of buttons or switch between a list of play buttons, which are playlists that you've saved or tracks that you've saved, and then playlists. And yeah, so there we go. So you can go see the playlist, but you can see that I can't see anything right now. Like, I'm not getting any playlists, not getting any buttons shown either because login is not working. So this is the bug I'm trying to solve. So this is the famous thing that a lot of experienced software developers are laughing at us Vibecoders about, because it's like, it's all fun and games building with Vibecoding until you have to vibe debug. So here I am. And it's funny too, because I've talked with a lot of friends who have been coding with AI, and there's just so much smoke and, snake oil out there about, how fast you can develop apps. Because to do it right, it takes time to really handcraft things and to be aware of what you're building. And yeah, you can whip things up quickly, but to actually like deploy something, put it through this testing, walk through these problems and vibe debug, it takes time, And what's cool for me is that without AI, I'm just a terrible coder. So I for me to be doing this all on this scale is a massive gift. So for me, the productivity gain is essentially infinity. Now, if you're an experienced developer, it's going to be an accelerator for sure, but your gains might not be as big as for somebody like me who gets a big productivity gain out of it. But I still struggle. So I'll still be way slower than an experienced dev, but at least I can. So I'm excited about that. And okay, so let's see here too. I don't know. Let's see if somebody's oh, somebody's already responded to my post. That's kind of fun. All right, so let me come back here to the preview tool. So, all right, so when I run my code in development mode, and this is a feature of Next.js, you get this little kind of red debug icon down here that you can click. And so it is showing me a number of issues. So I got to find out what the heck is going on here. Okay, so I've got a syntax error, unexpected token. I've got an API error. So I'm going to find out what the heck that is about. Oh, use callback from Farcaster. Okay, so we'll get to that in a moment. So what's interesting, obviously, too, when you're developing, sometimes you have cascading errors. So one error could be leading to the others. So a part of diagnosing and debugging is getting to that root error of what could be the source of the problem. All right, so getting another error here, fetch API failed for sign in. So that's interesting. So I don't know what that's about. Okay, then that's just a throw error message. Okay. All right, so all right, so let me go back here. So I'm gonna say it's gonna start back here somewhere. And so what my first strategy is to simply just copy the error I'm running into. And I'm gonna come into cursor and just say like, well, actually, let me also do one more thing here. See if I can do a little bit more strategy here. So this is one way to get some intelligence on what's happening behind the scenes. So then the other way is to bring up your browser development tools. So I'm here on Microsoft Edge, which is Chrome based. Um, don't give me grief for that. Um, for using Edge. And I'm on a Mac. That's a long story. All right. So what I can do is I can go to, I don't even know where they have this because I just know the, oh yeah, I can go to View Developer and I can go to Developer Tools. And so I usually use the hotkeys, which is Command Option I for info or developer info. All right, and I can scroll back here to see where I have problems and where these. Okay, so I'm seeing these same issues that Next.js is telling me about. Okay, failed to fetch CSRF token. Doc type is not valid. Okay. So yeah, so this could be, so I don't know if this has to do with the fact that I'm running through a tunnel or not. So this is going to be interesting to figure that out. So if you're out there in developer land and have any clues on this, let me know. We can kind of vibe code this together. But I'll tell you what I'm want to do during these live streams is kind of just show my general strategy of how you solve some of these problems. And so my strategy again would be to take some of these errors and again, so I'm getting an error, API error 500. Again, this is yeah. So I'm getting some sort of error from the auth authentication from Farcaster on this. So that's kind of strange. So I don't know what's up with that. So what I'll do is I'll come in here to cursor and then say, okay, runtime error. And I copied it previously, so I'm just going to post this in here. And let me see if I can find out where the code is. The weird thing, it's happening, it doesn't appear to be happening. It's not happening in my code base. That's what's kind of bizarre. Intercept console error, weird. Okay, yeah, okay. I'm going to start with this. And then in in Cursor, you can also choose the model that you want to use to code. I've been very happy with Google Gemini. People have been loving Gemini 3, which has just been rolled out. And then also kind of one I know that's been hot as of late has been Opus 4.5 from Anthropic. And so I might try that. Well, let's actually try that right now. Let's see how far it gets. And let's see if we can diagnose this at all. Okay, so I'm just gonna literally vibe code this, vibe debug this. What's weird is that I don't have uh, a file or line of code within my code that seems to be the source of the issue. Again, let me go back here and see if I can go through the log and see. Yeah, okay, so that's normal. So all this looks good too here. See, I have some debug code that I'm writing to make sure everything's okay. So that's all good. Yeah, so strange. So, it could be here. Okay, add API. Let me see if I can go there. API.ts. Okay, so maybe it's in here. Okay, so I think okay, so I was making some changes here earlier. So maybe what I'll do is I'll say runtime error in API.ts. And okay, let's try this. Let's see if this is enough to go on here. So I'll feed it to the model and see what it comes up with here. And okay, so it's thinking and we'll see what happens. So this is where, if you're like super advanced coder, you might also, you can background task. In fact, here, if I pop this other panel out, you can then move on to other things and start prompting other issues or, be working on a different feature. And so you can spawn a new agent. And then while it's thinking in the background, right, you can launch other agents to be thinking about some of these problems. For me, I'm kind of, I guess, one track minded, so I'm a little slow. Maybe as my confidence grows, I'll be more multi agent ish. But for now, I like to kind of more learn by doing and seeing how the models are changing the code. And okay, so it's saying, look at this error. This issue is response.json is being called on. HTML response. Um, okay, content. Oh yeah, content type header is missing or incorrect. Yeah, that sounds correct. Server returns HTML. But it's supposed to be JSON. Okay, great. That sounds actually decent. Like, that sounds like a reasonable hypothesis that the AI had. Now here, what I can do is it says undo, keep, review. I guess I could say review. Okay, so there it's showing me where it's changed the code. Yeah, see here on the left, it's saying API returned HTML. So hopefully, yeah, it's going to try and return JSON. Oh, it's just wrapping with an error handler. Okay, we'll see how this goes. I'm not sure if this is going to solve the bug, but at least it will catch the error. Okay, so we're going to say keep. And all right, so actually what's kind of fun too is that if you start your package manager in dev mode, it will live update the code. So now if I switch back to here, now it should have reloaded my mini app automatically, but just for kicks, I want to make sure that it did reload the code. Okay, so there I can see kind of in the background, it was reloading here. Yeah, okay, cross origin request. Oh yeah, fun. Gonna call proxy from the server, proxies on the client. Okay. So yeah, I don't know if this could be part of the problem as well. So we'll see. Yeah. Now I'm getting an internal server error on the CSRF stuff. Okay, I'll get to that in a moment. Yeah, so it looks like we might be getting the same thing. Let me try it one more time. Yeah, we're getting the same errors. All right. Unexpected token, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, still getting the same error message. Okay, interesting. So let's see if anybody's, okay, no, nobody's responding to me there. Back here, preview tool. Now, one thing I do want to show you as well, because this is kind of a pet peeve of mine, um, is Base on the Base app. They've essentially, like in Farcaster, I can come and turn on this developer tool area where I then launch my, launch my app, right? Oh, let me go back to my tunnel. Right. So if I copy my tunnel URL, put this in here and open, right? It's going to reopen my app. Here, let me just show you again for those who may have tuned in. So when I open that URL directly from my development server, my mini app loads kind of in test mode or development mode. Now, the Coinbase Base team also has a similar tool that I can launch. So I have to go to base.dev, and then you can go /preview, and it takes me here. Now, if I put that same URL, tunneled URL, and I hit submit, actually, this is changing. Oh, this worked. Oh my gosh, this has not worked before. It found my full, what we call manifest file, kind of showing that my app is a valid mini app. So it did actually launch it here. So let's see if it comes up. Oh, interesting. So Base was able to log in. So here you can see my app is functioning normally. Oh, but you know what? This is this is not my development version. This is my deployed version. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this kind of highlights the problem I think we're having in development land on Base, because all right, this gets into all kinds of fun territory that I'd love to give feedback to the Base team about. So, okay, I just gave you a tunnel to my development server on my machine. Okay. I hit submit. You are looking for my manifest file, which is the kind of gives you the parameters for, where to find things for my app. Now, my manifest file is tied to my actual deployment domain, my production domain, which is called addplaybutton.xyz. So when I put my development URL in here, it grabbed my manifest file pointing to addplaybutton.xyz, which is my production server, not my development server. So Base, you guys are bringing up my deployed version, not the version I'm pointing to with this URL, because you're trying to pull it from my manifest. No, you need to grab it from the URL that I've got off my development server. Now, the alternative to this is, okay, so I'm going to show more behind the scenes here, is I've deployed onto Vercel. Okay. So Vercel is a essentially web server software and service to help you host your apps in a secure way. So they do all kinds of fun security stuff and whatnot. So I'm going to come here to my deployments. Okay. So I can see here that, okay. All right, so let me refresh here. Okay, yeah, so, oh, it's interesting. Is this saying, okay, 38 seconds. So, all right, so here's a deployment, a preview deployment. So I can see that my current running version in Vercel is down here. It says current, it's flagged as current. So this is my deployed version on addplaybutton.xyz. Now, when I do development builds and I check them in via GitHub, and in fact, here, when I come here, you can see that actually, this is a couple of days ago, 3 days ago, I checked in some code, which is basically the same as what I have here right now. So it's what I'm calling version 1.2. So if I come here, I can see that this version 1.2 was uploaded to GitHub. It was built by Vercel, and you'll see underneath here that it says preview, which means it's a preview build. It's a test build. So I should be able to just click on this, right? And I can see, oh yeah, there's my new code. There's the toolbar button that is new because that's not in my deployed version. I click here, I hit copy URL. So this is my URL to my preview deployment on Vercel. So theoretically, right, if I come here into Base, okay, it doesn't work for tunneling for testing. Okay, I'm going to put my Vercel URL in there, right? That seems like a logical thing to do. So when I hit submit, it complains it can't find my manifest, which is not true because my manifest is in the same exact location as it's always been. It's the same one that's deployed. And so the reason why this conflict is happening is because these tools, both on Farcaster and on Base build, they don't have any intelligence about the test builds and stuff. And so then they're putting the onus back on us as developers to develop a new manifest file that we have to develop or do some sort of token substitution that says, okay, don't use my deployment server, use the test server. But the problem is for Vercel and those of us using Vercel, which is basically almost everybody who's doing MiniApps, these domains created by Vercel for test environments, these are dynamically generated URLs that are so so I could write some sort of code to dynamically create a manifest on the fly. Or wouldn't it just be easier if you guys, Base and Farcaster, could just take this URL right here from Vercel because it's a trusted domain and I could just paste this in here and you figure it out. Okay. So, and the same thing exists on Farcaster as well. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of heat from the teams here, why that's probably some sort of bad idea. But I'm like, surely there's got to be a solution to this. And okay, so let's see if Farcaster, yeah, so like Farcaster, same thing on the preview domain, it refused to connect. So like that's just so dumb. So basically, Base build, the preview tool in Base build is useless to me because I can't put an ngrok tunnel VPN URL in there. I can't put a Vercel URL in there unless I write a bunch of code to dynamically create manifest files on the fly and do token substitution for my dev servers wherever they are, whether that's my machine or on Vercel. And like, geez, guys, kind of let's make this a lot easier. So anyway, that's my diatribe there. All right, so okay, so I don't know how much you guys want to hear me complain about some of these dev tools, but this is the complexity of stuff that, you know, when people talk about, oh yeah, just build an app in a day, you know, like, no, it's not going to happen. There's too many complexities here. And you just run into all kinds of kind of riffraff and crazy stuff. And so, all right. So I'm just checking to see if anybody's hitting me up on Farcaster for any chats or anything like that. So, okay. So there we go. All right. So let me come back to the preview tool here. Okay. So I'm going to just stick with my ngrok VPN URL via the preview tool on Farcaster. This is the only way I know today to test a mini app. So for those of you who are maybe more knowledgeable in this, am I missing something? I guess I'm going to have to write the code to do that, you know, the dynamic manifest generation, file generation, but it just seems insane when like every developer now is going to have to write that code. And like, why isn't there a shared library for that? Okay. All right. So here we're back again. So this is where I start to get stuck because I'm like, all right, I'm running into what's interesting is that this code, I have not touched this code since my deployed version. So maybe what I have to do, okay, so maybe this might be a prompt, is to say, okay, the login code was working properly. So this is kind of a prompting strategy. So this is what I'm typing down in the lower left corner. The login code was working properly in my deployed version. Okay, and actually, let me see if I can get okay. Yeah, so what you can do is in the history list here, you can grab essentially your GitHub like ID number for that particular deployment or check-in. And so I'm gonna grab that in my deployed version. I think, can I say at git? Yeah, git. Oh, weird. No. Git. Oh, documentation git. Oh, no. Maybe I can't. I thought there was a special keyword in the chat for. Oh, here we go. Diff with main. Okay, branch. I can do that. Okay. Compare the current version with the deployed one. Okay, that might be too much. Using too many tokens, but oh well. All right, so there we go. So let's put that monkey on the AI's back and see what happens. Find out why this code just stopped working for no reason at all. So again, some of you may do this differently. Okay, it says, see the summary that we previously fixed the syntax error by adding a try catch block around the response. Handle cases where they've been. Okay. So yeah, no, it's saying, hey, didn't what we do before work? And I'm going to say, no, it didn't. It didn't make a difference. Sometimes it's funny because like I want to yell at it like a person, and I think that's what a lot of people have been discovering, particularly when coding, is like you just be direct and authoritative with it. Okay. All right, here we go. So now maybe it's seeing some stuff. Okay, so it says now I can see the real issue. The terminal logs show get CSRF API auth Farcaster 404. API roots are returning 404 errors, which means Next.js is returning a 404 page instead of JSON. Oh, see? The roots don't exist or aren't being found correctly. The route files look correct. Use client at the top. Okay, proxy.ts file has a use client at the top, but it contains server-side code that uses next response, next request, JWT, verify and environment variables. This is causing the error. Interesting. Oh, yeah. Okay. This appears to be intended as middleware. Okay. So what happened here was there were some libraries in Next.js regarding middleware that were deprecated. And one of my earlier changes, like, a few weeks ago or something, I was trying to update the libraries to take advantage of the new way that they wanted to do this with this middleware, with this middleware.ts. All right, so let's see if it was able to resolve this then. Okay, I found and fixed the issue. The problem was with proxy.ts. So some of you may have already run into this. This is all new to me. About this middleware upgrade to next.js. It says, okay, wrong file name. Next.js middleware must be named middleware.ts, not proxy.ts. Okay, use client directive. The file had use client at the top, but middleware is server-side code. Oh, interesting. Okay, wrong function name. Function was named proxy instead of middleware. Awesome. Okay, here's the magic of AI. Like as a junior Vibecode dev, I wouldn't have found that in a million years, right? But I know enough that I can feed it into AI, and we can now start to get to some productive solutions to the issue. So this is fantastic. This is where I feel like I start to get superhuman powers, because now it's like I have a senior dev who knows Next.js watching over my shoulder and saying, "Oh yeah, let's look at the middleware file." Awesome, right? So, all right, so I'm going to say keep. So let's go for this. All right, so it's showing a bunch of changes here. So this is a little scary because this is like ton of code here that it's adding. But I'm gonna have to trust it because I have literally have no clue how to stay up to date with these libraries. So I just need to make sure it's not doing anything nefarious, right? Like, sending money to a Nigerian uncle or something. Okay, so it's defining. Okay, so it's defining my API routes. Okay, share pages. Okay. Oh yeah, it's defining kind of what's public, what's not. Okay, yeah. Okay, that all looks pretty good. All right, so that's great. Yeah, and you can see over here in the change log for my source code control for GitHub. So it's adding or it's updating this middleware.ts. We're going to get rid of the proxy.ts file, and it's also changing. Oh, well, I think this is the earlier change we had with adding error detection to make sure we're getting JSON instead of HTML returned back to us from the auth. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so all right, so now actually I've got to go back to my test environment here. So now it should have, again, my dev server should have dynamically reloaded the page. So again, you can see that it has, like, it's got all these get calls. Yeah, you can see middleware file convention is deprecated. Please proxy instead. Oh, so this is interesting. So yeah, so this is telling me the opposite. This is telling me the dev server is telling me the opposite. So what the heck? That's crazy. All right, so let's just try reload the page again just to make sure. Oh, there we go. We were able to log in this time. You can see that because my avatar icon showed up. I don't have a login button here. So this is good. Hey, some progress, actually. All right, yeah, there's my play buttons. Okay, let me close this just for a second, because for those of you, again, who use my app, you'll see that, we've got our buttons list, which is here. And now we also have a playlist list. Oh, shoot. This was working earlier. Okay, we're going to have to come back to that. Um, so let's see. Dang. Okay, yeah, so I got new issues. Okay, so I may stop there just in terms of the live stream. I could go on forever. But I at least wanted to kind of show some behind the scenes of how I go about kind of diagnosing. And for those of you who are wanting to get into mini app development, here's kind of like a typical workflow for how this goes, for how you start to debug, and you're dealing with. I've got a version in production that's already out there on Vercel. I'm doing local builds on my machine. I have to tunnel into them. I have to use the Farcaster preview tool to bring up the tunnel private build on my machine to test within the Farcaster environment. So I at least wanted to get that far today so I can kind of demo that out. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, or if you're not, hopefully this is helpful information to you. So you can find me on Base and Farcaster, Derek Hoyam, DerekHoyem. There's my name. .base.eth and ETH. And or you can find me on X, just Derek at Derek Hoyam, all one word. And you can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn as well. And And then I'm going to be also doing some live streams around music management stuff, because I've managed a number of artists over the years. I'm talking to a couple of artists about potentially doing some live management over live streams. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, so the reason why I created, and to back up a little bit too, the reason why I created the Add Play Button app, and I think I explained some of this earlier, was to bridge the gap between artists who may go, hey, I'm interested in this crypto space. I like what the Base app is doing with creator coins and tokenization of posts. So, like if you post a song or if you post a music video or whatever on the Base app, people can buy that app with cryptocurrency. So that could be a stable coin like USDC, just paying you in dollars, or it could be Ethereum or whatever, or Solana now. And so that's just like super, super cool. So that's why I'm excited about Base, and Zora's technology coming into the Base app. And of course, you can do this on Zora as well. So many people are doing that. And of course, the live streaming functionality is new on Zora as well. So yeah, so I thought I'd try this out and give some behind the scenes. So hopefully you guys like this, and maybe I'll show some progress in the next couple of days, and do some retrospect on how I'm going to solve these next 6 issues that I've now run into here. So this is kind of ongoing, right? Like, when you're doing active development, you solve one problem, you uncover new problems, and you're adding your features into it. And this is kind of normal par for the course stuff. But at least we got to the point where we solved the login problem. So that's amazing. So, okay. All right. That's it for now. And we'll see you guys next time. All right. Later.